I mean, what a game. That was so damn fun. I mean, I understand that I was like, yo, this team is going to take years off my life, and they probably did. It was one of the more entertaining games of the season. I mean, aside from Vikings Bills, this was a contender for game of the year for all the moments that happened in it. It was just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than what a game, right? So, with that being said, we're going to go over the Dallas Cowboys 40 to 34 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, what it means, what happened, things that can be worked on. We'll get through all that in today's video. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the Cowboys victory over Philadelphia. Now, first things first, guys, happy holidays for whatever you celebrate, whatever fandom you are a part of football-wise. I do hope that you and your families have great holidays, and with that, I understand that, and I'm going to primarily be speaking to Cowboys and Eagles fans, I understand that for the result for both sides, it would be like one's in jubilation, one's disgusted because of how the game went. But I'm going to just tell you right now, if these two teams meet again, if you think this is crazy, oh my God, the next one's going to be a goddamn movie. So there was so much to unpack, and even without Jalen Hurts, the Eagles did the job they were supposed to do to be in position to win this game. Now, we're going to go over what the stats showed to give some shout outs to certain people. Then we'll go over the actual game and the vibe that there was, because I think a lot of people need to understand that this game, it really was back and forth, and surprisingly, I'm shocked that the Cowboys were able to win the game knowing how fate usually is with this team. So, let's first start off with some statistical shout-outs. Dak Prescott. Bro, this guy, aside from that pick six, which was, oh my God, a terrible throw. Should not have made that throw. And he owned up to it. Masterclass of a game. This man really put the team on his back and said, we're not losing this goddamn game. And I'm not just exaggerating. Like, he was the basically only source of legitimate offense for this team, even though he got sacked 6 times. Okay? 27 of 35, 347, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And a passer rating of 124.3. If you take away the interception, the guy, I believe it's like 132. Unbelievable game by Dak Prescott. Just wow. I mean, the fact is guys, whether we want to like it or not, Dak Prescott, even though he's committing the turnovers, and I'm not trying to excuse this, I want to make that super, super clear, he is playing a level of football to where you literally, I forgot the pick six happened like towards the tail end of the game, because we weren't in a situation that Dak Prescott put us into where that screwed us, because he bounced back and he gave the Cowboys the lead with how well he was playing. Again, we'll get into that momentarily with how the game flow went. On the ground, Zeke led the way, 16 carries, 15 yards. He had a long run of 22 yards, and he had the touchdown, the first touchdown of the game. The Cowboys did not run the ball well with Zeke. I mean, when you look at the stats, I mean, Dak was your most efficient runner, but that's not saying much. I mean, Tony had 9 carries for 19 yards. I mean, they were pitiful with running the ball, and that's something that worried me. And something changed, and again, we'll talk about that in just a second. Cowboys running the ball were just not good in this game. They had some key runs here and there, but their run game has not looked good, but they definitely went to the pass when they needed to. And this was one of the games, and for those thinking that Dak passed the ball a whole lot, we only threw the ball 4 more times than we ran it. For Philly, they passed the ball way more times than they ran the ball, and they only averaged 3.0 yards per carry, which is crazy to say the least. But again, I want to make it super, super clear. The way Philly was conducting offense, it didn't really require to really run the ball a whole lot because of how Dallas was playing defensively. Again, I want to hold off of that. Receiving, CeeDee Lamb, man. This man had 100 yards in the first half. He's the first Dallas Cowboys wide receiver since Michael Irvin in 1993 to have a 100-yard receiving game in the midway point of the game. Like, dude is just special, man. I don't know what the hell happened, but, they just went to him. They were like, F it. He's the guy that's open. Give the ball to the playmaker. They were dicing up the middle of the field. And the spin move he had, they targeted him 11 times, and he caught it 10 times. That is amazing. And shout out to CeeDee Lamb, because guess what? CeeDee Lamb is now the guy that has the most receiving yards in his first 3 seasons as a Dallas Cowboy. He just surpassed Bob Hayes with this game by 11 yards, and he's going to build on that. I mean, and he has 8 touchdowns. He's already having a career year, and he still has 2 games remaining to build on that, right? And oh my goodness. And then Pollard had 6 catches for 61 yards, and then you had T.Y. Hilton, which I'm gonna hold off on that once we get into the game flow. In terms of the turnovers, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys defense forced 4 turnovers. The Cowboys had 1 turnover, I believe. And so with that, I mean, wow. I mean, Jaron Kearse had a game. Him and DaRon Bland, wow. They were responsible for the 2 interceptions. And then you had Jaron Kearse get a fumble recovery, and then I believe Micah forced another fumble recovery towards the tail end of the game. So shout out to those. And, I'm upset because Kevontae Turpin had a really damn good return, which would have changed a little bit with how the drive went. But got to just give that shout out there. And then Brett Maher, dude, 4 for 4. 4 for 4. Not sponsored by Wendy's, or I guess because Wendy's does the 4 for 4, or do they still? I don't know. That I don't want to get sidetracked. 4 for 4. 100%. Wow. And he kicked the one that mattered. So he gave you 16 points. And you only punted, I believe. What? It says here 1 time. And the Eagles, I don't think they punted at all. You really turned the ball over, which is crazy. So yeah, guys, I mean, those are what the stats show. So let's actually get into the game flow. So with the game cast, this is crazy. So Dallas, I would say, like, had, even when they were like tied at 17 apiece, I mean, it really was kind of going towards the Eagles' way towards the tail end of the game, but Dallas just, of course, did what they did. So let's actually look at the play-by-play here. So the main thing is that Philly jumped on Dallas early, 10-0. And then it took Dallas about 20 plays to get the lead back. So what happens is after the interception, they go down 10-0. Dallas responds with a superb drive by Dak Prescott and company. In fact, Dak had a play where it was 3rd and 5, and he almost got sacked, and he was able to get that ball off to Michael Gallup to keep the drive going. This led to the touchdown, and then we had an interception take place, and this was Jaron Kearse's interception, and I believe, and then that led to the touchdown shortly after. It took 6 more plays, and that was a beauty to CeeDee Lamb. I mean, the ball was placed perfectly. He did the spin move, got into the end zone, and Dallas took a 4-point lead. Philly then responded with a 10-play, 74-yard touchdown drive, and then Dallas got a field goal, and then to end the half, Philly got a field goal. So it was 20-17 at the half, and I honestly felt like this thing was turning into a shootout. But Dallas, the way that Dak played after that interception, I believe at that point he only had like 1 or 2 incompletions the whole game. And the fact is that Dallas was back in the game. And, it really felt like, hey, if we get the ball last, odds are we're going to win this game. That's kind of where the vibe was. So we go into the 3rd quarter. Dallas goes 3-and-out because they deferred. Philly scores a touchdown, and this is where I think a lot of us started kind of being like, oh my God, here's the same old Cowboys. So you're down 10 again, right? And then you start going on a drive. there was a point, and I believe this was when the Cowboys were going to take the lead, go up 14-10. They went for it on 4th and 8. And I believe this was the drive also. They went for it on 4th and 1. The Dallas Cowboys were hella aggressive in this game, and it paid off. It really did. Yes, there were moments where the team didn't had its greatest moments. Like, there was a play where it was like a flea flicker type of situation, and people were getting pissed at Kellen Moore, but I wanted to go back and take a look at the tape. And I have to wait until the All-22 comes out, but when I saw it, if Dak gets like 1 or 2 more seconds, it's a touchdown to Michael Gallup. Like, it nearly worked, but we have our disagreements, and I'm not going to, blame you there. I mean, it is annoying because, like, you don't want to be doing this stuff, but it nearly worked. Like, it was one of those situations where if Dak gets, like, maybe 1 more second to get that ball off, or 2, it's a touchdown, and, we'll go over that later. Next, so after the Cowboys go up by a field goal, it really felt like, okay, Dallas is still in the game. Then we had the fumble take place. Jaron Kearse nearly houses it, and then the Cowboys respond with a beautiful touchdown pass to Michael Gallup. I mean, 3rd and goal, Dak rolls out to his right. It looked very reminiscent of the Terrence Williams touchdown on Thanksgiving back in 2016, if you remember that. So, really damn good job there. And then the Eagles responded with a touchdown of their own to go up 34-27. Now, with that, this is where, in my opinion, the Cowboys won the game. Dak Prescott was sacked twice, and it was a 3rd down and 30. A 3rd down and 30. And this SOB in Dak Prescott says, F it, T.Y.'s down there somewhere. He threw this ball, and it had like 60 yards in the air perfectly. And even T.Y. got interfered with, and he still caught that thing. He still caught that thing. And that led to the Cowboys tying the game up at 34-all. And that's when the Cowboys, when they scored that touchdown, then we had the Deron Bland interception, and then another fumble by the Eagles. Regardless, Dallas was in control after that point. After they scored and tied the game up, Dallas started, turning up the pressure cooker, and Philly started to crumble. And again, they were able to have success on some of these plays, but when it mattered, the defense gave you a stop. Now, what nearly gave me a goddamn heart attack was at the very end of the game. Yes, you go up 30, 37, 34, all right, whatever. And it looked like Dallas was going to get a touchdown and close this thing out. But this is what worried me. And I'm very certain that this is something that Dallas needs to work on. The first thing is that Dak Prescott should have stayed in bounds. Now, granted, there was a 1 second differential, but that 1 second differential made the difference between the Eagles using 1 timeout or having all their timeouts or rather 1. So Dak should have stayed in bounds and slid, right? And then the first play, right? So the first play before the 2-minute warning, what does Dak do? What Dak does is it's a play pass, and rather than throwing the ball out of the end zone, which he should have done, he takes a sack. He just goes down. And yes, you go down, but that was not a real smart play there in the sense of closing the game up, because if you throw it, then there's an easier opportunity for you to score. And honestly, you might have seen the Cowboys go for it to close the game out. But the Cowboys kick a field goal. They drain some timeouts from Philly, and so this defense needs to close this thing out. It's like we're watching the Jacksonville game all over again, and what do? They let Philly bend this defense, but they did not break on that final drive. And this is where, for the game to end the way it did, winning 40-34. In fact, the Cowboys, I believe, actually from Dak, had the best statistical game of any quarterback that's faced the Eagles. And allegedly the Eagles, from their fans, have seen some that want to say it's a top defense, and you gave up 40 points. You gave up 40 points to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, granted, Philadelphia did score 34 points, and now we're going to get into that because I think a lot of people, don't recognize this Cowboys defense has a pass rush issue. And what did Philly do? Now, there were plenty of holding calls that were missed on Micah Parsons and company, but what Philly did to get around it is I noticed Dan Quinn blitzed a lot more than usual that we saw in previous games. And that burnt the Cowboys a couple times. In fact, when you go and look at the touchdown that was on 4th and 3, which was a huge play in the game, that allowed, I believe, that was the play that allowed the Eagles to go up 10. There was a just mental lapse because Diggs is like trying to get the turnover, but he doesn't account for the fact that Smith's wide open behind him, which he should have stayed on assignment, and that would have been a downs conversion for the Cowboys, right? They would have been able to stop him there. So that's something that worried me, is that the defense was getting pressure. They just weren't getting home. And, in these scramble drills, you need to be able to lay it down. And I think people want to talk about how this run game looked. Oh, the Cowboys were getting gashed down on the ground. Guys, they really weren't. What killed them was the short intermediate game. That's where Philly's bread and butter was. And I guarantee you that their run game is going to look a hell of a lot better with Jalen Hurts back. And so Jalen Hurts is going to give the Cowboys a much difficult task to handle. But with Dallas getting guys like LVE back, Jonathan Hankins back, Sam Williams back, I think Dallas will be fine. I mean, when you look at this cornerback situation, realistically, the deepest ball that was thrown was on Diggs to start the game, right? Other than that, you had plays from Nashawn Wright, Deron Bland. The list goes on. You were able to get quality reps from these guys, and I really and I understand. Listen, I'm not trying to sit here and say that they played perfect. Absolutely not. But what is really important here is that the Dallas Cowboys defensively really just needed one to get home through the pass rush, and they would have been fine. But they didn't. And it really nearly cost the team. But, hey, you got enough pressure on Minshew to force throws, especially at the tail end. That's all that I can ask for. So, a couple of more interesting stats. The Dallas Cowboys had the same amount of first downs by the Eagles. Both teams were identical. 8 of 14 for the Eagles on third down. 8 of 15 for the Cowboys on third down. Both teams converted on their fourth down try. By the way, the fourth down tries, so the Eagles were 2 of 3 if you're counting the last game, the last drive of the game, and the Cowboys were 2 for 2, especially if you include the penalty, right, just to keep it a buck there. So the Cowboys had less total yards than the Eagles offensively, but this was just an identical game down the middle statistically. 419 total yards to 442. You had 10 drives to the Cowboys, 12. Yards per play, 6.4 for the Eagles, 5.8 for the Cowboys. Passing was near identical, but what made passing different for Dallas was that I felt like Minshew, they were making him pass the ball a lot, understandably so, because that's how the vibe of the game is, but what I think allowed them to keep doing that was that Dallas couldn't get home on the pressure. And I don't expect this to happen again, but that's not, and it's not necessarily a testament to how bad Dallas is. It's a testament to how good Philly's offensive line is. Shout out to them. They have a really damn good offense. They have 3 Pro Bowlers on there, and they all play very damn well. That's no excuse. That's just an honest-to-God assessment. Now, rushing the ball. Guys, Philadelphia only rushed the ball 87 they only got 87 yards. They rushed the ball 29 times. Now, like I said, that's going to change when Hurts gets back in there, but it was really more so you were getting hurt by Minshew and the Eagles' short to intermediate passing attack. And you're basically betting on him beating you. And with that, He gave you 2 interceptions. You got 2 fumbles. And, I mean, look, you got the time of possession 32-27. So this isn't a shocker for why Philadelphia lost this game, especially at the end. They had the game. They really did. And then Dallas made the plays that mattered the most at the end. So what does this game mean for the Cowboys? Well, you win this game, and you are now 11-4 with the Giants loss. You are officially the 5th seed. And you still have a shot at the division. The only way that that's going to happen is if Philly loses out and you win out. Now, for what Philly's got to go through, they got to face the Saints, and the Saints are vying for a playoff spot. So I think that Hurts is going to miss one more game. And I don't think it's going to happen, guys, just to keep it a bean with you. But look, if Philly loses and Dallas wins next week, oh my Christ, it's going to be unbelievable in the last week of the season. I mean, at this point, if you're looking for a path to the number 1 seed, you need to see the 49ers lose a game and the Vikings lose a game if you want to get that desired number 1 seed. But for me, I don't really care. I just want this team to play good football at the right time. And they finished the year 8-1 at home. They're 3-3 on the road, which they're going to now be going on the road for the rest of the season unless a Philadelphia mega collapse occurs and they end up having to play in the first round. So with that being said, what can the Cowboys take away from this game? You need to stop running the ball on first down as much. It's clearly not efficient. I'm sorry. Like, the way that you are running the ball, it's not like that you're running it. It's the fact that you run it and it's not doing anything for you. I think that for the Dallas Cowboys, what they need to do moving forward, pass the ball on first down. And they attack the middle of the field. That's what I can ask for. So continue to do that moving forward. And you kind of see what Philly was able to do. Now, Lane Johnson, this is another thing. He got hurt. I'm hearing it's a groin. He's able to stand up on his own and do things, but we'll see how that injury goes. And that's a huge injury for Philly. And I hope he's okay. I definitely hope he's okay. I want Hurts, him, everybody to be healthy come our next matchup. So there's that. I'm trying to think of any other things before I let you guys go. This was a huge game for momentum for the Cowboys. I know Philadelphia, they're going to be like, you guys beat us with a backup quarterback. I mean, by the same logic, we can use the same. You guys did the same thing when you guys beat Cooper Rush, who isn't as good as a backup as Gardner Minshew, but I digress. Both teams won by 6 points in the respective stadiums. So I think we're going to get a fitting conclusion to this saga, assuming that they match up in the postseason. That's not even a guarantee either. So for Dallas, use this as a springboard. You did your part. Now you have to take this and run with it. You really put yourself in a bind that, honestly, just do your thing. Go out there and get it. I mean, your opportunity is right in front of you. I know that sounds super cliche, but I don't have much more to say. I mean, this Cowboys team proved me wrong. They did not collapse when it happened. They erased 2 10-digit leads, and I will say that is something that is unbelievable. I mean, they responded when they were called upon, and you're not going to get away with 30-plus points given up in the postseason, but Dallas just needs to make the key stops when it matters. So, I mean, listen, if I can get a Dak Prescott who's playing the level that he's playing at in the postseason, Cowboys are going to be a tough out. They are going to be tough to beat regardless. Running the ball, if they get their run game going, it's going to be tough too. But I think the Cowboys, they have what it takes to win some games. Will they? No, I don't have a guarantee there. But with that being said, guys, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday. I'm going to let you guys take it easy for the rest of it. And I hope that maybe, just maybe, this game gives us some momentum. Hopefully. Alrighty, guys. Have a happy holiday. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.